One fight in the past that could have happened that unfortunately never happened was a fight between Adonis Stevenson and Sergey Kovalev. Now this was obviously would have been a great fight. The reason is both fighters are punchers, lethal punchers, but they're lethal punchers almost in opposite ways. If you look at it's almost like they're mirror images of each other because they're both punchers, but they're prolific punchers in different types of ways. And I just think it would have been an incredible fight, and that would have been obviously Sergey Kovalev versus against Adonis Stevenson. Now both fighters are very lethal punchers. Both fighters punch very hard. Both fighters are very fearsome and quite feared and respected from their peers as well. They've beaten so many good fighters in their time, and they both have fought the best of the best, and both of them were very much feared in their day. So who would have won if they both would have fought? In my opinion, I think Sergey Kovalev takes this. Now the reason is because I just feel like Sergey Kovalev is just a more advanced athlete than Adonis Stevenson. All Adonis Stevenson really has is his left hand. Now don't get it twisted, he does have more wrinkles to his game than that. For example, he does have a decent defense. He was quite long and rangy. He had a lot going for him, but I just think Sergey Kovalev had a lot more going for him with his technical ability, his ability to box as well as punch. I mean, let's be real, man. Sergey Kovalev, for all of his faults, in terms of his ill discipline outside of the ring, like his excessive alcohol drinking, for all of his faults, he managed to outbox Andre Ward, who in their first fight, in my opinion, I'm going to make a separate video about that, but he managed to beat Andre Ward. I thought he won that fight regardless of what the judges think, but I feel like he outboxed Andre Ward in their first fight, and that's hugely impressive. I mean, it's almost like, it reminds me of when Thomas Hearns was outboxing Sugar Ray Leonard in their first fight. Remember when he's out jabbing him? It was very similar to that, because going into the fight, it was seen that Sugar Ray Leonard and Andre Ward was seen as the better boxers between the two. Like Thomas Hearns and Kovalev were both seen as just punchers, basically. Some people did acknowledge their technical ability, but they're mainly seen as punchers, and for some reason punchers are just seen as more crude and rudimentary than slick boxers or slick fighters. But in reality, you can be a puncher and still be a slick fighter. Not a slick fighter, but be a fighter who's like very good technically. And I think that's the case with Sergey Kovalev and definitely Thomas Hearns. These fighters, even though they're slick fighters, even though they're devastating punchers, they still had the ability to box. And I think that's the best punchers. If you can get the best of both worlds, be a puncher but also be able to box, you get the best of both worlds, and it's quite incredible, to be fair. So in my opinion, I think it's fair to say that I just think Sergey Kovalev just had more wrinkles to his game. He was technically better. I mean, he outboxed Andre Ward, like I just mentioned before, and on top of that, like I think there's many times that Adonis Stevenson would be not losing a fight, but he wouldn't be that much ahead. But then his game-changing power was what saved him. But there's many times where Sergey Kovalev outboxed opponents, like in his second fight against Elida Alvarez. Obviously Elida Alvarez completely destroyed him in the first fight, but in the second fight he actually outboxed him. So because of everything that I'm saying, I just think Sergey Kovalev would have beaten Adonis Stevenson. I think Sergey Kovalev is definitely an all-time great light heavyweight. I mean, this is a dude that's won, I think he's won 3 light heavyweight titles, and he's fought very good opposition as well while doing that. So yeah, in my opinion, if they both were to fight in their primes, obviously I think my money would be on Sergey Kovalev winning, because he has more wrinkles to his game. Now don't get it twisted, Adonis Stevenson will definitely have his moments. Adonis Stevenson will definitely show his power and may even hurt and buzz Sergey Kovalev, because Sergey Kovalev is not a fighter who's indestructible. I mean, if Anthony Yarde was able to buzz Sergey Kovalev, and I know it wasn't Sergey Kovalev in his prime, but regardless, if Anthony Yarde was able to buzz him, if Canelo was able to knock him out, if Elida Alvarez was able to drop him, let's be real, in the second fight, Sergey Kovalev got hurt by Andre Ward. I mean, if all of these fighters could do it, then Adonis Stevenson, if he lands a left hand, could definitely hurt him. So yeah, taking all of that into account, I think it's quite easy to see in my opinion that Sergey Kovalev would have won because of his technical ability, but I wouldn't be surprised if he has some fragile moments in there where he gets hit by a shot and he doesn't see coming, like the left hand lands or something like that, and he starts looking vulnerable. So in my opinion, that's what would happen if they were both to fight each other. I think it will be it might even come to a point where both of them have become so wary of each other's power. It's very similar to Francis Ngannou versus Derek Lewis when they fought the first time. Shout out to anyone that knows what I'm talking about. But here you had two MMA punchers, and because they were so aware of the other person's power, none of them wanted to commit. A similar thing could happen between the Adonis Stevenson versus Kovalev fight. But I just think Kovalev's technical ability, if that was to happen, Kovalev's technical ability will be a bit too much for Adonis Stevenson. But I still think Adonis Stevenson would have hurt him and would have landed a shot or two. So yeah, that's my opinion. Tell me your opinion. Who do you think would have won if they were both to fight each other? And that's basically all I have to say in terms of who I think would have won between the two. It would have been a spectacle to see. You know what, this is a fight that had the potential to be a huge spectacle if they let their hands go, but it could also be that they're so wary of each other's power that they don't let their hands go. Because of that, the fight isn't as interesting as we initially thought it would be. But either way, I think it would have been a fight that would have been worth watching. Definitely, both of them fighting each other would have been a hell of a fight. So yeah, that's my opinion on the fight. Tell me your opinion and like and subscribe to the channel. I've got a lot more content coming your way. Peace out.